Join me on this edition of Ask Life and Style. I am Uchechi Lemowa. In Nigeria, we have various kinds of food eaten by different ethnic groups in Nigeria. Nigerian foods are so varied from north to south and east to west. Today, we are going to be looking at 5 Nigerian delicacies made and eaten by different ethnic groups in Nigeria. Stay with me. I'll be right back in a minute. Believe me when I say this episode is so very tempting. What do you expect when you are talking about food, especially when you are hungry and your brain begins to play a trick on you, just like it is happening to me right now? But trust me, I know what to do at the end of this show. In the eastern part of Nigeria, there are various kinds of food. We have bitter leaf, we have okaza soup, and we have ako ofa, known as banga soup. But today we are going to look at the most prominent foods eaten by Igbos, and that is ora soup and abacha. Let's have a look. Oh my gosh, ora soup or ofe ora, as popularly called by Igbo people, is one of the most delicious and popular soup made and eaten by Igbo people. This soup is so delicious, and as an Igbo girl, I can sell my birthright for this recipe. On the other hand, abacha, which is also known as African salad, is a product of cassava and another meal most popular among Igbos in Nigeria. This recipe is highly nutritious and can be enjoyed by everyone. Now, if you don't know abacha, just check out this video. There are different kinds of food eaten by Hausa people, and they range from tuwo shinkafa, tuwo dawa, and so on. But we will be looking at miyan kuka and masa. Miyan kuka is one of the most popular and simplest northern soups. It is made with dried fish using kuka leaves, which are usually sun-dried and grind into powder and serves as a thickener. This soup reminds me of ogbono soup, but with a darker green color. Miyan kuka is another case of not judging a soup by its color. On the other hand, masa is a very popular snack in the north, commonly sold on the street side. Masa doesn't taste really sweet, but is considerably healthier. Thing about most traditional foods of the northern people is that they have very rich and unique taste and lots of unique spices like Thai and Indian food, and most contain cereal including rice, millet and corn as main ingredients, which are all healthy. There is this stereotype about women from Akwa Ibom State that they are the best cook in Nigeria. This may sound a bit biased, but practically the stereotype is more like a fact. Afang soup is one dish that you will find commonly in many homes in Cross River and Akwa Ibom states of Nigeria. It is usually prepared with combination of vegetables, afang leaves and water leaves. Let's have a look. It is also known to be the richest and somewhat medicinal vegetable soup of the Efiks and Ibibios in Nigeria. Well, this is all I have for you today on this edition of Ask life and style. I must confess, this discuss various recipes make me appreciate being a Nigerian and Nigerian foods even more. It's been fun hanging out with you, and I will definitely see you again. Bye for now.
Welcome to Press Talk, a platform where we analyze some topical issues that made headlines and are still trending in the media. On this platform, we engage seasoned journalists to give informed and in-depth analysis to the issues as they affect governance and corporate existence of the entity, Nigeria. I am Charles Ibe, and with me on this platform, I have Chukwuma Nze. He's the coordinator, Young Journalist Forum. You're welcome to Press Talk.
Thank you for having me.
And also we have our in-house analyst, Emmanuel Iduku.
Thank you for having me.
The first issue that we have to discuss on this platform, the Rivers election. Finally, victory for the People's Democratic Party, PDP, when the INEC, the returning officer, finally read out the lines that everybody has been waiting for, declaring him returned elected. Victory after a whole long while. Mr. Chukwuma, what do you think?
For me, it's a process which was unprecedentedly cut short by the suspension, and we are all happy because we are still learning the democratic rules, that we don't use these suspensions to cause a clog in the wheel of that progress. So for us, it's a thing of joy that we can now say, as far as the gubernatorial and presidential elections are concerned, we have closed the process for now, pending, because the judiciary is another, that's where it ends. Exactly. When it gets to the Supreme Court. So as a Nigerian who prays that the democratic process grows from the previous ones, so I am happy that we have sealed that deal.
Of course, there are lessons that must have been drawn all through the whole Rivers debacle. It's not just Rivers. We had Kano, we had Plateau, we had a lot of states where we had to do supplementary elections and then arrive at results as it were. Now, still on this Rivers issue, we had a situation. Yeah. Rivers was a flashpoint. Had always been a flashpoint in Nigerian political talk, and then having to have two gladiators at the center of all of this, and then having lives lost, time wasted, resources of government and every other thing put into to arrive at where we are right now. What really do you think is wrong with Nigerian politics?
Well, before I answer that question, I'd like to congratulate the people of Rivers State, the governor-elect, Nyesom Wike. It has been a long-running battle. The party, the Rivers election has taught us so many lessons so far, taught us to understand that there's a lot of work that needs to be done in the part of INEC. But the one thing that made me happy yesterday was the fact that now there was no violence as we envisaged, and it shows that the Nigerian authorities are listening to the people after all. Now we have no instances of military intervention, as it were, during the normal election and all that. But going forward, I think something must be done deliberately by the Rivers people. In fact, I would have loved to see a situation whereby the elders of that state call these two people to order, because election is not war, right? These people have been friends before. We've heard, we know they have a history together before now, and Wiki has been chief of staff to Amici before and all that. Now, for them to throw Rivers State into that state of what it was during this election, I don't think it's a good one. I think there must be deliberate effort by the people, especially the leaders, the paramount leaders in that state. Elder statement, you come to the drawing board, because a lot of lives were lost in the course of this election, which was not worth it. Like President Jonathan will always say, that he said election is not worth the life of anybody, because it is a temporal thing. 4 years you are gone. Exactly. 8 years at maximum you are gone and you are done. So how come you're taking a life that you cannot create it? You cannot create. So I think, and then when you talk about people faulting the presence of military in Rivers State, you begin to understand why these things were meant to be. Now Rivers became a flashpoint because of the way, the volatility of that terrain. We all know that it was a state coming out of, how do I call it, militancy and all that, a lot of guns in people's hands and all that. That's why the military came in. And military intervention also led to other issues that came up. I think it's not the best. INEC did their best. INEC couldn't have done better than what they did. Suspend the election, well, probably it was for the right reasons. I don't know about that, but the truth of the matter is that Rivers people have to come to terms. This should not be. 2023 should not go down like this.
Exactly. Now, another issue that we can draw from the Rivers issue is this issue of having super individuals who appear to be bigger, larger than life, larger than the state, larger than the constitution, larger than the law. We also saw at play a lot of horse trading and accusations and all of that. In the middle of all of that, we had a Rotimi Amechi, serving minister, a former governor, also somebody close to the corridors of power. And we see military, although there are a lot of issues, fake military and all of that. But then it was a clear war between these two, one on the other side, one seemingly from the government side. You understand? Even though the APC, through their national chairman, did come out and say there was no arrangement between AAC and APC whatsoever, indicating or implying that Amechi was acting on his own. But then we had the military, which is a government institution, playing a very key role in that. Now, moving forward, from all these lessons drawn, super individuals, bigger, larger than life and bigger than the law and all of that, two elephants fighting and the grass suffering. What measures should be put in place going forward that we don't have individuals that are bigger or larger than life, so to speak?
It's just a problem of our institutions. If we have functional institutions, individuals do not raise their head. It's the institution that you just talked about somebody, Amechi being the Minister of Transport and an incumbent. He was there before. We've had the likes of Peter Odili before him. Yeah. He's very calm. We don't hear him the way we are hearing these other two. So it depends on the individual. So the truth is, we have to get institutions to work. If you are an individual, no matter who you are, if you abuse, even if you are the peak or the head of an organization, an institution, and you misbehave, there are the ways the institution should be able to check excesses. So our society, I think we are still trying to learn the ropes, and we learn through our experiences. For crying out loud, the incumbent, according they call him Mr. Project. He has been able to distinguish himself practically, which was played out during the elections. The margin is wow. In fact, they had to ignore the rerun that they planned to do to make up, And these are issues you cannot change the wheel of progress. Yes. So if you look at the calculations, he was already on that path because he engaged the people. Okay,
then now going forward, do you see penalties?
No, that's why I say institutions must work. Like we talked about the military coming out. The military, the constitution says INEC can make requests for security, and the duties, the role of the military was defined. You don't have anything to do close to electoral areas. Yeah. You just block if there is any external attack and you see them, you block. So that it doesn't get to the aggression, doesn't get to the center of activities. So for the military coming to the center of the election process, it's an aberration, and it is something that the institution should not have allowed ab initio.
And now that it has happened,
going forward, we have to strengthen the institution. That is just where I'm going to.
Now, in strengthening the institution, Mr. Emmanuel, do you think what should be done categorically, the military, the electoral process, the key players, because there are these people that are not, at the end of it, we all know what happened. We all know who played what role at what point in time. So shying away, just pushing everything under the carpet, 2023, it might have to regenerate again. I will start having issues. Going forward, what would you, being in a place, if you had the power like this state, what should be done to ensure we don't have a reoccurrence?
Well, before I answer that, I would like to make you understand that sometimes what we see playing out in the public space is not what is already happening on ground. You know, for those that are always faulting the military, yes, of course, the military has no place in the electoral process. The military should not be anywhere close to elections. Elections were held in over 20 states in Nigeria, in the 2019 elections. And it was only Rivers State that we got to hear there was an altercation between the military and the people. Now, what happens is that sometimes the security operatives, I sympathize with them. Sometimes you don't see what goes down the underground. But what comes out is that people now wait for it to happen, and then once it happens, the fire back, military, oh, the military. I didn't cover Rivers State during the elections. I was in Benue, but from all the stories and feelers I was hearing was that they were already, for the police was already charged up by these two political gladiators, you like rightly called them, Amechi and Wike. They were like, it was a do or die affair. We were going to win by force. We were taking the, and all those kinds of statements were dished out to the public. And then you know what it means for. Tell me I should do is a do or die affair. Then if I'm a follower, I'll be ready to die for you if I'm so ardent follower. But I think what should be done going forward is that, just like you said, our institutions must be strengthened. What institutions are we talking about here? The INEC, the police, the political parties, the law. What about the law? No, the Electoral Act wasn't passed, but it had no effect on this one for now. But I think even the political parties, which are constituted institutions, must understand that we must begin to reorientate Nigerians to understand that elections are not really a must. It's not a do or die affair. We should understand, we should know that the true definition of democracy is a government of majority rule. And the majority rules, even if it's by a little margin. Once it's a majority, they take the lead. And then people should understand that this is not, life does not end at a particular point. Now we're going to have series of elections going forward. Now what is going to be done? Now I think what should be done to forestall such incidences is that we need more reorientation, especially in that, Nigeria generally, not just Rivers State. Because I had those instances in Akwa Ibom State too, and Akwa Ibom election is coming. I don't know how it's going to be. It might still, those kind of issues might still spring up. I think there should be deliberate effort, and I think INEC, the Department of Voter Education in INEC, I don't think they are doing enough. I thought they are doing very well. Just like I told you in one other forum, that the NOA must live up to its expectation. Yes. Nigerians must be schooled to understand that this election, when you go to Port Harcourt, you know what I'm talking about. If you ever lived in Port Harcourt, you know how Port Harcourt looks like. All right. I think there should be more reorientation.
More reorientation is what Nigerians need right now to ensure that they get the process right.
I also think, sorry for interjecting, I also think that an independent body should be able to investigate the process. If you investigate the process, you tell us who did what at what point in time, and we apportion blames. Okay, so you are more or less advocating for a commission of inquiry or something. If we say a commission of inquiry might, well, if that is what it's about nomenclature now. Yeah, but we did hear the army say we are going to institute. No, the army has. Yes, but
the army tried to. Constituting the panel to investigate itself, I'm
talking about an independent civil society.
The army was complicit in this election.
Civil society, you can bring people representative from these institutions that play the strategic roles to ensure that their interests are protected. You know, just for them to see how the process runs, and at the end of the day, we bring out if you watch the history of Nigeria, we have wonderful documents. Yes. The West report is there, the Nnamani report is there. These are wonderful documents that were done dispassionately by Nigerians. But unfortunately, because of some ulterior motives, we have not been able to implement them because they are there. So
that's why you know that the politicians are the ones that even cause these problems, because we had electoral reforms. We know how to do these things well, but they come and then they thwart it deliberately because they know that if they do it wrong, they know it's not going to go well with them at the polls.
And to a large extent, some people blame it on the non-signing of the electoral reforms by the president.
Well, no, this present document is not even part of it. It's not part of.
So it doesn't.
Blame. Not part of one of the things we should blame. not this present one actually, but we have that letter of reform. There's some clauses that were dropped, especially the waste report, clauses that were dropped that would have gone a long way to forestall this kind of business we saw in the last.
But another thing is that you can have a wonderful document, and if the actors who implement that document do not want it to be implemented. They will just act the way they like. So it's not about the document. In the United Kingdom, we have an unwritten constitution. But when people learn how to act right,
it goes a long way.
They work with conventions, and when you know that it hurts you not to slap your neighbor, you don't go and slap him. It's a convention, and it meets up with what society demands.
All right, congratulations once more to people of Rivers State. Concluded elections, a governor still is sitting and moving forward. Now let's look at another issue that has been trending right for a long time now, and which is still going to trend. The 9th Assembly. We are still some months away to the inauguration of this assembly, but already we are having issues everywhere. The ruling party, the APC, is insisting it's going to have its stamp on who leads the 9th Assembly. Some of the senators are saying, no, no, no. This has to be our decision. This has to be our choice. Nobody should be breathing down our neck and say, this is who we take on, or this is who we take on. But the question is, should we, at this point in our democracy, be really talking about impositions, fighting over a bridge that we have not even gotten to it, talking about crossing it? Where should be what do you really think about the whole debacle in the 9th Assembly?
Well, the 9th Assembly, for me, what's happening there is still politics playing out. I think the APC are trying to be very careful now. You know what happened in 2015, build up to before the inauguration of 2015 National Assembly, where they lost the seat to somebody who wasn't their choice.
But was still their member.
Was still their member. But now you sympathize with the APC for not wanting the choice of Saraki, because what happened before the end of that assembly proved the reason why they didn't even want him in the first place. And the issue of imposition is not normal. It's not normal, but it's not outrightly
out of place.
Out of place. It's out of place democratically. Well, the constitution did not say, but it says that the National Assembly members who convene and elect their leaders, isn't it? Now the APC enjoys majority in the House. Now the only problem we have is that if the APC can come to a round table and come to a consensus and present one candidate, we won't be having these issues. But the issue, where the issue came up was that some other people are also vying for the same position, and they were not given the opportunity. Well, it's unfortunate that APC, up until now, have not come out to speak with one voice. Because remember when the PDP held sway in power, PDP had a way of making everything amicable. They settle it in their dark room, and they come out with one person. It would be as if it was in an election, where you say that the person has been decided. But this one, APC, but there's something APC is doing that I think I like. All right, the seeming disunity between the ranks of the party, I think it's good for our democracy. All right, that's by the way, though, it's good for our democracy, because we see a situation whereby the party seems to have people, they don't speak with one voice, and that's why they will not be able to run the country aground the way the PDP did. I don't know if you understand, because even the APC was even prior to this election, the APC had issues with INEC, PDP has issues with INEC. You get this already. So, but the imposition is wrong. The position of I think the leadership of the party, what they didn't do rightly was that they did not, in their cone, in their closet, solve this matter before coming. You have settled everybody, settled the Ndume, settled the Gojes, those that are trying to contest, right? Made them see reasons why you wanted Lawa. If you know, human beings are dynamic. If you give human beings reasons for a particular action, they're not promising them money as
all right, Mr. Chuma, before all of this, when APC was formed and going forward, even after 2015 and going towards to 2019, there has been this notion that this is a marriage of strange bedfellows who just came together to take power without even knowing what to do with power. Are we seeing it playing out now again? Do you foresee an implosion?
Fundamentally, because the marriage is still bearing so much fruit. There are so many children. They have the presidency, which is the cash cow of Nigeria. So
the hand that
even if other aggrieved members are there, because they will see something to benefit, so it can be assumed to be working. The fundamentally is not. It's not. Because, okay, let's come back to the National Assembly issue now. You are if you say you are a father in your home, you have children, and you say, okay, I prefer this one over others. You see the kind of disunity it brings into the home.
Yes.
So for me, I think the national leadership of the APC erred in not bringing the children together and look at those people who have shown interest to say, we want to contend for this position, and bring them together and say, okay, of these 3 people, let us narrow down to maybe 2. Then you make this.
Have a contest.
Yeah, yes.
And probably think about settlements of a juicy.
Yeah, it's a thing that they should have just said. Let's allow the people to, because we are talking about democracy.
Yeah, so
about the number of the people.
In a way, now we're faulting. Are we faulting the leadership of the APC right now, or the senators, or the national?
This decision they've made. You see the rank orders. Ali Dume yesterday came out with a 9-point agenda for his own campaign. So he has, you know, if that was how the Saraki case started,
and it was also
Saraki it's out.
And it was also in the news that the APC is insisting that it.
Yes, they are. In fact, they are even making it worse because the national leader recently said, "Is if you don't want, you leave the party." Yes, it's like telling you leave the cake.
Irrelevant. Yes.
So already they are setting a template for what happened.
Exactly.
And the PDP can easily just feast on this, and then
no, it's going to play out again because you see, if you repeat, they say we don't learn from history, we repeat history. It is what is going to play out because already the house is divided, and traditionally the PDP bulk is intact.
Yes.
So anybody who keys into that bulk and the PDP is able to negotiate their way forward, the PDP has over 40.
And the 13 senators from the APC that are aggrieved with a choice of Lala, and once they move over to the PDP,
that is it. That is the mathematics.
But then, in the midst of all of this, I think shouldn't we be focusing on Nigeria? At what point does it stop being parties, and then let's look about moving this country forward, irrespective of what party? I think the president did mention that when he hosted the senators to a dinner, that you have an honorary tax ahead of you. Aside from party fights or yourselves and all of that, think Nigerian. So at one point today, he got a rallying call from the president. Even if it has to be a PDP.
As Nigerians, we have a way of making ourselves feel better when we say certain things. Now, a human being is affiliated. It's an affiliation. First of all,
to
family before you get to a state, you get to society. Even when you are growing, as in your adulthood, in your normal day-to-day life, it's called that you have alliances, you have affiliations. Or you can't take that away. And all these pockets of groups and affiliations and group and they are all part of the entities that make up Nigeria.
Yes.
Now, if you look at national interest, if the interest of that part, now people can hardly separate themselves from from their interest from what they are. You can't tell me that because I love Nigeria so much, I should kill my interest in my association with my family. If I'm not in tune with my family, how will I like Nigeria if I don't like my fellow brother, I don't like my colleagues? You know what I mean? I start from the beginning. The truth of the matter is that our political parties must understand one thing. In as much as they should understand that what is lacking between their ranks is that they don't know that all they are doing is supposed to be geared towards growing Nigeria. Now, we do it our way, all for national interest. Do you understand? But they don't do it their way, all for national interest. They just do it and they feel it's for their pockets and all that. So that's why it goes in line. And then the APC leadership should understand that whatever they do today is going to make or mar that party tomorrow. Now, the Senate is a very strong body. Right? The PDP has made a statement with this election that they are not pushaways, right? We saw PDP fought APC tooth in some of the elections. Right? We saw how APC won some elections narrowly. PDP.
Yes.
So they should understand that they must understand now that they don't get their house together. All happened in 9th Assembly. And you know, the 8th Assembly was not really that productive because of this one.
Exactly.
And Nigerians cannot afford to tow that part anymore. So they must understand that if Oshomole and the APC so love Nigeria as they claim to do, and the Buhari, All right, the president seems to be detached from politics to a point. I think it's time for him to come and make a statement. It's time for him to call these people together. He has respect. He has charisma. People have a way of honoring him, whether you like it or not. Buhari is a charismatic person. He's a man of the people. He has that age on his side. People respect his military background and all that. He must come now. I know if Buhari sits these people down and then make a statement, makes his choice, I don't think this rancor will go on.
All right. Press Talk will continue after this break. President Muhammadu Buhari, in a letter he transmitted to the leadership of the National Assembly and read during Senate plenary on Tuesday, rejected 7 more bills transmitted to him by the National Assembly. The bills include the Chartered Institute